Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Tia's Digital Tea Time. Sorry, I'm running about 1 minute late. I'm going to turn on this light right here and watch it blind me. So hold on. Will it blind me? Usually it blinds me. Ugh, awful, awful, awful. Can we turn this down? There we go. Hello, Holly. How are you? All right, guys. Sorry, I am a mess today. Like I said, I'm running about 1 minute late. I'm waiting for Allison to come in. If Allison, hi Andrea, happens to see me, or someone can tag her, all she's got to do is look for the little guy at the bottom with the square. Whew, guys, it's hot today. Let me adjust this lighting. I almost don't want it. It's almost too hot for light. So, but don't worry, I didn't even get a slushie today. I'm so sad. I do have, oh, Allison's already here. She was fast. But I already got at least my drink. And my vodka. Hold on, let me grab that vodka here. It says adding, connecting. Hey, oh, you're on your side.
I'm on my side?
Yes, you are, ma'am. There you go. All right.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, no, guys. I didn't put vodka. I accidentally grabbed the rum. Oh, well. Guess I'm drinking rum tonight. Ugh. I like the rum. It's okay, but sorry.
Wait.
How are you today?
Wait, can you hear me or are you hearing like echo?
I can hear you. Are you hearing an echo? Let me turn my volume down a little bit. Is that better?
Oh, is that what's happening?
Well, you sound really low, actually, to me.
I need consult. I need serious consult.
Okay, so can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I can hear you.
I hear your so weird echo.
Oh, okay. All right. How about this? Why don't you go ahead and hang up and come back in, and then we'll try that. Maybe it just needs a reset.
Sorry, everybody. I'll be back.
Yep, she'll be back in 1 second, y'all. Well, as you heard me just complaining here a second ago, I just put coconut rum into my punch. I really wanted vodka in this. Hey, Yongda, how are you? Hi, Gwen. Okay, Gwen said, do you all still hear an echo even with her not on here? Do you all hear an echo with just me by myself? No? Anybody? All right, I'm going to go ahead and try to add her. All right, I'm hitting add. No echo on me. Okay, great. Let's try that.
I'm back.
All right. Hey, Yongda. Hey, Samantha. Hey, Katina. Okay, guys, let me know. Do you hear an echo now?
Good. I'm not actually talking, but maybe.
Do you hear an echo when you talk?
No, it's perfect now.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yay!
Thanks. Sorry about that. Thanks.
Oh, well, that's okay. I was just complaining about me putting the wrong alcohol in my drink, so that's all I was doing.
I like your lighting. Looks good.
Oh, thank you. I was like, it's a little bright, but that's all right. I'm just, I got one of those things off of Amazon. They were like, they're really cheap. It's not even that much to get LED lighting that you plug into like a laptop, and it just, hey, Lene, how are you? Thanks, Gwen. Andrea, it's clear. Thank you so much.
Yay.
So,
guys are here. It's very exciting.
Yeah. So, all right, go ahead. Introduce yourself to all the readers.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm Alison Aimes, and hi, Holly. I'm following in Holly's fabulous footsteps because she was on recently, and that was so much fun for me to watch. And okay, in and out, that's fine. Love it. And I write dark romance. I write sci-fi romance, and I read Omegaverse romance, which I think is what you recently read of mine. And I love to read it all, but that's what I write. And I've written contemporary as well. I brought show and tell too, but we don't have to jump into that right away.
Well, for those of you, can you explain? Because I think you were actually my first Omegaverse book So can you explain to the readers what Omegaverse is?
Sure. I really should have prepared a little bit more than I did. But anyway, Omegaverse is a particular genre within romance. And what I love about it, I'll say it runs a spectrum. I write dark Omegaverse, but honestly, there gets a lot darker than mine, and a lot dirtier. But I'm over there in that corner of dark and dirty, and it's really fun. And then you have all the range you can write, some people write what they call sweet Omegaverse. So there's a range. But the idea behind it is that, and it actually started, I should say, like it initially began and was big there was mostly gay Omegaverse, which is fabulous to read and really fun and and I just love it. And that really is where the genre began, took off. And the idea behind it is that you have alphas and omegas and betas, and there's instincts to breed, and that like there's a lot of dominance to submission play going on, and it's wonderful. And then, oh, look at that! Are you seeing those little things come up? That's so cute.
Yeah, that's coming up from, it looks like Holly.
That's so cute. And then from there, just people became like other romance artists. I mean, romance authors wanted to play with it a little bit, play with those concepts, and so now it's circled back. And now there's people writing it who, when they're writing male-female Omegaverse.
Hi, Book Queen. So there you go, guys. Omegaverse is pretty much a fictional universe or a fictional dimension where power dynamics are in play instinctually. Like, it's part of everyday life. It's not like a choice like BDSM or domestic discipline. It is literally, there's alpha creatures, there's omega creatures who submit automatically to the alpha creatures by nature. Almost very animal kingdom like.
Yes, very primal. It's very primal.
Yeah.
And I like to, I mean, I'm a big fan of like Laura Lee, who writes in her Breeds series. And I think people who like those kind of paranormal fantasy books, this is really also sort of owes some of its motivation to those kinds of books where it's this primal instincts and primal power dynamics. Then they're so much fun to write about for me.
And I know that you say that your books are dark, and I get that because you're writing anti-heroes. A lot of them are almost like a galactic. I'm not saying this right. Someone help me. The MS gets me sometimes. I want to say galaxy, but bigger, like as a, well, all right, as an adjective. How do you say galaxy when it's an adjective?
You mean galactic? You want to say galactic?
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Like almost like a galactic mafia.
Yeah.
Is what I was trying to go for. Thank you. Sorry. My MS has stolen words from me, and I'm still regaining some of them even 2 years later.
But we're talking about my book. We're talking about my books in the Omegaverse world. I just saw someone's comment, and I'm out.
Oh.
Running late. Sorry, go ahead. You keep going.
Oh, yes. So we were talking about the Omegaverse, and your books in particular, you said they were dark, and that's because you're writing anti-heroes, especially those who break the law. Therefore, they can't be heroes when they break the law. Heroes are heroic, right? So they're anti-heroes. However, your anti-heroes are actually quite, I felt like, respectful of the heroines and the Omegas that they capture. They don't torture them. They don't, like, when I think dark romance, I'm thinking torture and punishment.
That's why I say they're dark romance, because there are some triggers. There's a little bit of dubious consent in the sense that sometimes the Omega's bodies betray themselves. They have the desires, but they don't necessarily, they're not necessarily interested at first, because being with the bad guy for whatever reason that may be. I was trying to make some tensions, and so that sort of, for some people, I guess it all depends on the range, but I totally agree. Like, I really try to write books that have some heat to them. There's often some spanking in there, but it's usually, that's fun. But there's a lot of love and romance too. And usually the character arcs for both of them is where they come to really, really work together, and there's a lot of love. But I try to keep the heat and the steam up too, because I love that, and I love to write as well.
Now, I was so surprised when I read your author bio.
Yeah.
Because you have a PhD, right, in modern history. How is it that you ended up in sci-fi romance?
It's a crazy question. I mean, it was a crazy trajectory in some ways, and in some of the ways, so natural. Well, first of all, I have always loved romance, and I used to steal my mom's books from. She was a big romance reader, and I grew up sort of stealing hers, and reading all the classics and loving them. But then I myself did go on the trajectory of becoming a professor and teaching European history, which was a lot of fun, and I loved it. But at some point, I got pregnant, and as anyone here who does this knows, like, the tenure track for being a professor is extremely challenging. And I wanted to have a little bit more time with my kids. So I thought to myself, oh, I really want to write a historical romance. And so I will take this time. I'll take some time, I'll take a sabbatical, I'll take some time, I'll write this historical romance, and then I'll go back to teaching. Because I really do. It's, the university setting is very energetic, and I love it. And but anyway, and then I thought, well, before I do that, I want to just play a little bit. So I'll practice and I'll write a romance. I want to write a romance. And so the first book that I did write was a historical romance. And I loved it so much, and I had so much fun doing it, that I said, forget it. I'm not going back. I'm going to stay, and I'm just going to write. So that's what I.
So you've given up your life as a professor to be an author.
Yes.
That is, and not necessarily even an author of modern history. You're like
right. Well, that's the funny thing is, the first time I wrote, the first book I wrote was this historical romance, and I actually was gonna. I was just talking about this earlier. I was gonna sell it to Avon, and then things like totally changed, and I tucked that one away, and I ended up. I think the first things I did was my contemporary with Entangled, and I have those. I brought those with me.
Show them.
This one, which I love. I love this book so much. It's been so long. This was the first one I did, actually. This one's good too, but I love this one. But
these are these regular heroes, or are these anti-heroes?
They are. They're not as anti as, I mean, they're both kind of more dominant. Holly can maybe answer. They're fierce, strong characters, but they're not totally. I mean, I think the series. It's been a while, but I think the series is called like Bad Boy Billionaires, and they're not like super sweet. I just can't help myself, like the bad boy. But I did those, and then I thought, oh, I'll go back, and then eventually I decided to, because I got interested. I had a dream, and that's actually was where Trapped, which was the sci-fi romance that I first wrote and published on my own. These contemporary ones are published through Entangled, so they're not mine, self-published. But I decided to self-publish Trapped, and that was so much fun to write, and I loved that. And then from there, I was like,
now this is the sci-fi prison series, right?
Prison Planet. I brought those too. Oh wait, this is Tame. Sorry, I didn't pay attention to which one. I have them all here, but these are so much fun. I just love the idea. I had a dream, honestly, that one night about a guy, a super hot guy on a prison planet, and I woke up the next morning and I just was like, I'm gonna write this. I'm gonna write this one, and that's where Trapped and 673, who's that Holly likes Tormented, which is and Griff in Tormented, which is actually that one, but that is this one right there. That's her.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she likes him. I don't know why, but that's the purple doesn't do it for a lot of people, but I love that one. And this is the first one in that series, which is Trap. I know, man chest, just going for it, just no, just unapologetic man chest. But that's what they like in sci-fi. Yeah, so those have been really fun to write, and I have another one. Thanks Samantha, thanks Holly. I have another one due to everybody to write in that one. I sort of left that one still has some more juice in it, and I have a character that I teased and tamed that I need to let everybody know who it is, the ghost, and get that story going.
So, what's your writing day like? Yeah, how does that go?
Yeah, and I forgot to finish with to say that I forgot to say that once I decided to go this sci-fi route, then I changed that historical romance. I'm just circling back around to a sci-fi It's like and that's what Stolen is, which is
Really?
yes, yeah. I redid it and repackaged it as a sci-fi romance, and that one is really, I love that one too. I give that one free to. It's a reader magnet. But I also sell it on Amazon. So whichever way, if people want to pay for it, great. And if you don't, then you can always just get it through my newsletter. And that's really fun because it actually turned out to work great. Yes, Dakar, exactly. Holly's the best. So, and she knows. So, yes, so that was great because I was able to still use it. And I love that story.
So will you never write a historical, you don't think? Are you sci-fi or contemporary forevermore? Or?
No, I will never say never. I love it all. And I mean, even like I just like to mishmash them together, which is what I did with these latest ones, which is Omegaverse, but also like you mentioned, the Dark Mafia. And I have to see where things go. But I historicals, and I love it all. I love MC, I love Mafia, I love to read it all. I'd probably say that unless it is my the dark and dirty worlds, because that's what I love. But I could see venturing into different genres. Right now, I'm having so much fun with the world and the pretzel world. So, what are we doing? Where are we going?
Oh, I was throwing my dog out of the room because he wanted to leave. So I didn't want to interrupt you. So I was like, well, I'll just do that. And you can take a tour of my messy ass room because
that's the tour.
I'm untidy.
Taking a look all around. Looks good.
I wish it looked good.
And you asked me about my process before. I'm curious about yours as well. Do you want to tell me what you do? I feel like I'm talking so much.
Oh, no. I'll tell you what, like my process is slow going. I'm just now getting back into writing after a couple of years after I had a bad MS episode. So I'm still recovering in a way. I'm on disability. So this is kind of what I'm doing to occupy my time as I, recover and, hopefully I'll recover. I hear your puppies.
Sorry, the doorbell just rang.
Oh, anybody important? Is it just Amazon? It's always Amazon.
I think it's a package. I got a lot of kids going off to various places, so I did a lot of over helicopter parenting. Anyway, go ahead. So tell me.
Oh, well, that's about it. Like I'm running. I'm a very slow writer. I'm lucky if I can get 100 to 200 words done a day, but that's okay because I've been having a fun just reading, exploring other authors and stuff like that. So, I think I'm not killing myself over it. Like, so I'm not really even supposed to be working. This is more just because I'm on disability.
Yeah.
So
yes, yeah. And anyway, I do think it's really important to figure out. There's so many different ways to be an author, and you have to decide sort of what works for you and what brings you joy. And it's very easy to get burnt out if you can't. I mean, some people can just churn it out and do amazing, beautiful work, and I love those authors are fabulous, and I love those authors. I love to read them, but a lot of people can't. Here comes the barker. now. He's coming through. Soggy. It's pouring rain here right now.
Oh my goodness. Where, may I ask where you're at?
Yeah, I'm in Maryland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know, the reason why I asked is you said you have another book coming out. So I feel like you're very prolific.
Well, you're very nice. I'm going to let him and his disgusting wet self be there in the background.
Oh,
Sorry. Well, that's nice of you to say. I always feel like I could and should be writing much more than I am, but I guess we all feel like that, which is why I just try to tell myself to just relax. I'm going to block him so he's not distracting. He's way cuter than me. I can't have the competition. Anyway, so I think that I did just release Savage Prince, and I have
yeah.
the audio versions of Ruth is King, and then also Savage Prince coming out. So I'm
Oh, wow.
super excited about that. And the voices, the narrators, it's Stella Hunter and Jason Clark, and they are amazing. I mean, scorching hot, incredible. I'm just listening to them. Yeah, it's his voice. I teed up. I don't know if you can hear it. I teed up like a. Do you want to see if you can listen to his voice?
Yeah.
To hear their voices? I don't even know if you can, but I was just putting stuff together today for trying to get people to listen. So I thought you just see if you can hear.
Hi, this is Stella Hunter.
And this is Jason Clark.
And we are going to perform a scene from Ruthless King.
I'm not going to have you listen, just their voice.
The reminder of what she'd already seen inside his head helped him hustle the rest of the way out of the cell and sleep.
Is that like the most growly, awesome voice you've ever heard?
It is. It's incredibly sexy.
Yes.
Do you have a lot of readers who want audiobooks?
I do, and it's also been wonderful to discover panties. Exactly. Holly's right. I think he sounds, both of them, she's unbelievably, her voice is unbelievably sexy to me too. I just think they're both amazing. But I do, and I've also discovered a number of additional readers and listeners from the process, because I didn't know this, but there's a whole audio world of just people who really just listen to audio primarily, just like there are some people who just primarily read the books. So that's been really fun for me. It's been great for me to get to know these authors and get to know other listeners. And so that's been a really fun part of the process, actually. And
that's really amazing because, you know, I know what you mean. Like, I see these people on readers and authors on TikTok, and they always got print books in their hand and that. And I'm just not that person. I prefer ebooks. I have since 2006,
yeah,
maybe earlier. When Alora's Cave opened is when I started reading ebooks.
Yeah.
That's how long I've been doing this, right? Because I know that more than half these people have no idea what I'm talking about.
Oh.
But because I was overseas. I was sitting in Bahrain.
Oh.
You know, I couldn't get books like I wanted to read, so I had to go on the internet to read them. And that, you know, so that's when I started. I was reading on a .lit file, Microsoft .lit.
Wow. That's amazing. Is that where you got the inspiration for your book taken by, or is that?
Oh, well, I was in the military, yes, and I met my husband while deployed to Kuwait and that. So yeah, I like and part, some of it's a dream, you know, like it's a mixture. I always write a little of everything, you know, my own experiences and as well as fiction, you know, and stuff. So it's, you know,
I do not.
But it's
I'm just going to make that very clear. There are prison planets in my actual life. But that sounds wonderful. I'm glad that you do. That's wonderful.
Well, I think I'm glad you liked Taken with the Enemy. It was fun to write.
I loved it.
I consider it one of my better books of all the ones I've written, and it's sad because I wrote it so early in my career that I feel like I never quite.
I very much doubt that. I can't wait to read more. There is an innocence and a that comes along with the first book, a general sense of like energy, and you don't sort of not so critical. So I understand. I don't I whine. I don't mean to, but I whine about every single one of my books. When this last one that I did, this Savage Prince, which has been really, the reception, I've been really, really happy. And part of the reason I've been so happy about it is because I whined so much to my poor sweet husband and my friends while I was writing it, because I was convinced that it was a disaster. And so it was like a huge relief.
That did so well. I think it was great. I enjoyed the Omegaverse you built. I love your disclaimer at the beginning of the two certainties in the Omegaverse. You know,
Oh yeah,
I love that because I feel like it really sets the scene. I wish I had a print book so I can read it, but you do. Do you want to read the disclaimer about the Omegaverse?
the Alphaverse. Do you mean
yeah, Alpha? Yeah.
Yeah. What?
Yes, that's it.
It is an Omegaverse, but in my clever way, I've done it as the Alphaverse. Well, I said this story takes place in Anaheim, a parallel Alphaverse galaxy in a dark future seeded with varied forms of alien life. There are, however, two immutable constants. The first is that all inhabitants are Alpha, Beta, or Omega. Alphas lead, Betas serve, and Omegas submit. That is the way. The second is that violence is a way of life, power is essential to survival, and crime is king.
It's so exciting, guys. I get so excited when I read it. I was like, I gotta read this now. And I read it. Was it the Holly I read it? I think so. It was either Holly or Andrew, And
Holly, she's amazing.
And if it wasn't that, it might have been. Is EJ Frost a big fan of yours?
Yes, and
might have been EJ Frost too.
EJ is an unbelievable, lovely supporter of mine. I am a huge supporter of hers too. I love her books.
I'm a huge fan too, like of EJ Frost. Like, you know how you always have that one book boyfriend that you're like, okay, it's like that question, if you could only have one, and it had to be real life. And so, I automatically, when they say it's real life, I usually kick all of dark romance out of that because nobody really wants to live.
No,
right?
Yeah,
those characters.
Great for fantasy, but not where you want to live.
Right. So I always pick, when I get that question, Master Mac from Listing Inc. as my book boyfriend, real life book boyfriend. Like if he was a real person, I would marry him.
Holly's
kind of thing.
Riker. I understand. It is true. Like mine would work, and Riker would be an amazing book boyfriend. And just I was just saying,
go, Holly.
See, Holly, I'm just putting together my thank yous for my amazing art team, and that includes, this is Holly's right here. I'm putting it all together.
Oh, look at that, Holly.
I just have them right.
Awesome.
So
I should do things. You think I would be a better author and actually reward my readers or something?
But I like it. I love all the swag stuff that goes into things. I don't know. It's so much fun. So I love to do I love to do little swag things, and I don't know, it just be fun. Goodness. Yeah, I do tons of that.
Oh my goodness, look at that. I guess I need to get on your art.
Oh my God. I am so excited. This is so exciting to me because it is, I did wine charms, and each one is like, you can't see here, but like this one has, say they have handcuffs, and they have, or like crowns with them, but they're all for wine charms, and they each, one is for Savage Prince, one is for Ruthless King.
Oh my goodness.
I know, and in this box is all of them, but I haven't, I know, I was so excited about it. I can't show it yet because I haven't revealed all the covers for the other books yet, but I did.
Oh my goodness.
I know. But how cool is that, right? I mean,
I know. Screen capture, guys, quickly. And blow it up. Let us know what they look like.
Yeah, anyway, shopping issues right here.
Oh my goodness, that's so great.
Yeah,
so
my swag, right? She's amazing. So yeah.
So you are a full-time author, 24/7. This is part of your author day then, like you get up. Do you write first, or do you?
Yes. Let's see. Well, I'm going to say that it really depends. Right now, I'm in the stage of a lot of mulling and writing and a little bit of bitching. So I don't know how your process works, but that's part of my process. So I try to take care of a little bit of business in the morning. I do have a PA, Danielle, who is amazing, and I mean, amazing, and helps me with a ton of stuff. One, because as I mentioned to you, I'm very tech challenged, and my children are, you know, near adulthood, and so they are very patient with me, and they explain things to me, but they do also have lives, so I can't count on them to like show me how to work things and get my TikTok videos up, although they do help me with that and stuff. So so she's amazing and helps me with that. So I try a little bit in the morning to just like tiny bit of that stuff, and then I carve out time, you know, just for writing or outlining. And then it's kind of, then I switch gears back again to do some social media and connect with people and ads. I'm sure, you know, ads, marketing. I had no idea when I started that that would be such a extensive part of the process. And at first I was really, really resistant to that. I'm not a numbers person. If you ask me to do math right now, it'd be a total disaster. So I get like a little bit stressed about that, but I have, I've begun to have more and more fun with that part of the process. So that's good.
And so I was curious, just so how much of the day would you say you dedicate just to writing these stories? Hi, out there, King Dakari.
It really depends. I start out sort of mellow with my writing, the amount of time, and I'm more easily distracted. I'm just going to confess, but I really, and then by the end, I'm panicking and telling no one to talk to me and shutting myself in my, I switch, like I often write on my bed, which I didn't treat you guys to my, where I sit. I came onto the couch. I'm sitting on the ground right now. But I do often write there. But near the end, when I begin to panic and become nearing to my deadline, I then move into my study and write in the study. So that's how you know it's getting like down to the wire for me. And I need to, and it also helps me to switch gears. And I don't know about you, but I mean, I don't think this is very typical for most authors, but my favorite part of the process is actually the editing, not the writing.
I wish that was mine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wish mine was the writing, but I guess everybody, like, you know, I also wish I was 6'2". Like everybody wants what they can't have. But I guess because I'm very, very tiny, by the way. That's why. So anyway, so that's my favorite parts of the writing. I don't hate it, but once I get to the editing stage, that's when I'm genuinely having fun, and I really, really love it then. Because I can take what I've written and make it into something that I feel works. And before that, I'm just sort of like saying to myself, just got to get something down, and then you'll fix it, don't worry, you know. Doesn't have to be perfect.
I'm bad about editing while writing as well.
So what if you begin every sentence with and you use, you know, I don't know, cock 1,000 times, like you'll find another word for it. Don't worry. So yeah, but you like the writing part best.
I do, but you know, in some ways, I think I almost like the marketing because I like social media. I like talking to people and stuff, and it's such a bad thing. Like I spent way too much time on TikTok today. Way too much time.
I have become for a younger brother. Yeah, Holly is looking forward to book 4 in the Omegaverse world. Not the one I'm writing next, although that one is really coming along and I'm liking that. But the next one is Holly's. That's because he's kind of a younger brother and a kind of a badass. So
there you go.
He's already stolen her. He shows up in the other book, so I think that's how come. But he's cute. I can't wait to write his story, but he's fierce. And she already picked out my inspiration for me, which has been great actually to have a visual been so much fun. Hey,
Oh,
hi, EJ.
so do your kids know what you write?
My kids do know what I write, and they don't read it, which is a good thing. Unfortunately, I do believe that a couple of their friends have, which is, again, unfortunate, but what can you do? And hi, EJ. We were just talking about you, saying all good things. Um, and but I thought one of the greatest things was my son just taking on stride. He and I were we were traveling someplace, and we were at the airport sitting next to each other, and then he sort of laughed, and I was like, "What are you laughing at?" And he handed me his phone, and there was a picture, I think, of, I don't know, one of my books, and he said, like, from one of his friends, and it said, "My reading tonight." And I think his friend was just joking, but my son wrote back, "Leave a good review," and I was like,
Which is so nice. Exactly. Wow. Now, can you give me an age range of what your kids are at?
Oh, my kids are 19 and 17.
Okay, so that's not bad. Because I was reading romance and sex and books by 12, 13,
Oh, yeah.
14,
Because I'm their mother. I'm sure that they're, I don't know what they're doing, but yeah, I was the same way. And that doesn't bother me at all. I just think it's the mud, you gotta, the lines are, even for my poor husband has to keep some lines. So, although he's so great about it all, and he's done some readings with me that have been really fun, and hopefully we'll do another one. That's a lot of fun.
And what does he do?
He's a physician.
Oh, okay. There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
So I wonder, and do you think like because you talked about being a professor and saying no to tenure, like trying to do that journey. Do your co-workers or your peers, or do you think they know what you gave up your career for?
Oh, yes. I've stayed in touch with my advisor. Even when I was teaching, I taught a lot of classes on gender and sexuality and feminism. So I've always been interested in those topics. And I obviously, in my books, I play a lot with those kinds of issues. And I think, sexual pleasure and all that is very important. So, I mean, it may seem like a strange trajectory in some ways, but it's fairly consistent in other ways with just how I've always operated around those kinds of issues. It's just I'm now more in the fantasy play of it.
Yeah.
Really enjoying that. I think that's such a.
I was just
so
curious
great.
because I feel like and there are authors I know who can't tell like the people they work with or friends or family what they do, and then because it brings judgment upon them. So I was just kind of curious, coming from the academia, because in life or in history or even just now, romance has been kind of that looked upon down upon genre of
It's true, and I think there still is that. I'm very lucky in that not only is my family and my husband incredibly supportive, and some of my colleagues, but my parents are as well. My two biggest fans are my mom and my dad, which is so lovely. And my mom actually helps me a tremendous amount with the books and the
wow.
Yes, she was a big romance person herself. Someone's making themselves comfortable. But she's she's a wonderful writer herself, and she's a great support. And then my dad is such a sweet and cute supporter. He loves these books, which is so adorable. I didn't think he necessarily would, but he has been great. So I feel very, very lucky in that sense because I do think it's hard. And I know a lot of romance writers have to write more in isolation, and that can be hard. But that is why it's really nice to have one thing I love is the romance community. Both the readers, there's no better group of readers than romance readers, I think. Yes, I do feel lucky, EJ. And I think this is an incredible community. And it's an incredible author community too. I feel so lucky to have found a number of amazing authors who I think, EJ included, who are just such an inspiration and also such a great support. And I love that. The Omegaverse community is really amazing. The sci-fi romance community is really amazing. I don't know if you found that too for contemporary.
You know, I've been out of the industry for so long. I'm just now coming back, and I've been grateful to have met. Funny enough, I feel a lot of my support comes from the urban romance streetlit community, or like Dakari's group and that, and T&J Publications, who published my last book for me, and then the people on my group, which I'm so grateful for as well, who come to like these interviews.
I think this group, I was just watching, and the support and the the community here that you have is amazing. And I was looking at all the books and the energy of people. It's just
I'm so grateful because it's not even me doing it. It's the readers and the other authors who come on. And, you know, my PA, Gwen, I don't know if she's still here. We talk about it being like the Wild West because I don't have the rules that other authors have on their groups. So people just, I get a range of different kinds of posts and stuff. And I only moderate if I feel like it's getting too much, like if one person's spamming too much or whatever. I just ask that, you know, the authors who post don't post the same thing every day, you know, over and over, because that's boring.
Yeah.
It's you know, I welcome any author to post if they have a new release or a thing. I'm like, they don't even have to ask me, just go, if nobody else does, just go post it. So I was telling Dylan Page and Tara Hodel actually this. I was like, I don't, half of these readers aren't even mine. They belong to other authors who they just come hang out.
That's so
you know.
Yeah, I love that.
So,
I think that.
Yeah, me too. And which is perfectly great, because I do want to say, you know, and they're like, well, it's a safe space. I think readers feel like they can go there, and it's true. We, you know, the group doesn't allow certain things: no politics, no bullying, no, you know, this is a, and anybody who's out of line or homophobic, you know, nothing negative. Like we are a readership and a community of supporters and lifting each other up.
Nice. I'm sure you gain a lot of inspiration from that. I also have a Facebook page this Red Hot Romance, and I love the people who are on that. It's just, and I get such inspiration. In fact, they were sort of huge inspiration for me when I was figuring out how I wanted these Omegaverse books to look. And we had a whole conversation about Mafia, and that was hugely inspirational for me. And so many of their posts and pictures sort of motivate me.
I need to start doing that more, because I think sometimes I don't interact enough about like my own work. Like I don't ask readers, what do you think? You know, and I need to probably ask that. You know.
Well, I feel the same about hers. I don't know if you've gone to EJ's, but she's too, and they're also. I love her. First of all, fractals that she puts up are amazing.
I know, right?
Yeah, so nice. But yeah, it's just, I mean, and it's, I don't know, Facebook is changing a little bit. It's a little bit harder to find people, so that's kind of tragic. And people are, like you were saying, TikTok is another fun place. Instagram, Discord. That's so many.
I can't do Discord. It's like chat.
No. EJ is on Discord. A number of authors are, and I need to she goes there on there for writing purposes, and that's been actually the few times that I've gone on there and followed her, I've been much more productive. She's incredibly prolific and productive. So
I know, AJ, and I see sometime when she opens rooms up, and I think I should go on here and sprint. I should go sprint. And then, but I just don't.
Yeah,
because I suck.
Yourself too. See, she's a big fan. I know.
I have it downloaded on my phone, and I've signed up, and I don't know why. BJ, it could have been because of you. I had to sign up. I had to sign up to talk to authors about something, and I can't remember because my memory's bad. But I think it had to do with like a giveaway or like a meeting type thing. Yes, and I should come on and sprint. I know I should. I'm such a slow writer. Like people are like, "Oh yeah, I just wrote 1,000 words." I'm like 200 words. Sometimes I go negative because I delete things. It's terrible.
Well, Crystal, you have to tell us what you think, because I I think a lot of people like it. But you shouldn't, I understand, but your 200 words could be a lot better than someone's 1,000 gobbledygook. So you never know. I mean, maybe not. Maybe that person's 1,000 is pure gold, but you know, you can only do what you can do.
Yeah.
And I think
Crystal,
results are terrific. So
if you remember back in the day, and I'm talking about we're going like when like computers, like people just started getting them in the house. Do you remember chat rooms?
of course.
I swear, sometimes I say these words and I forget that I'm a Gen Xer. You know, I'm in my 40s. And so, you know, I've been on that bridge between life without technology and life with technology.
Yes.
Or not like an advanced technology, you know, like we were advanced. I remember when we got like a controller, a clicker to the cable box, and that was like high tech, you know, or our first cordless phone was high tech. You guys just don't know what it was like before we got the cordless phone. Like we did just sit in a hallway and talk on the phone. That is what we did. There was no privacy. We didn't know who was calling. This is very true modern history. You're a professor
Yes.
of modern history.
Yes,
This
so
is,
true.
so, you know, sometimes I say things and people look at me and I'm like, how old are you? And they're like 20. I'm like, oh my God.
I
Forget
know.
it. You have no idea what I mean.
Yes, yes, the reminders, exactly.
Yeah. Well, so in some ways, I'm so glad to be on that cusp between the two generations, you know, to have seen the world both ways.
Yeah.
But technology builds upon technology. So as time goes on, technology changes quickly.
Ooh.
So chat rooms weren't that long ago in the grand scheme, but they're gone pretty much, except for like Discord. And then people are like, oh, look how this is so new. And it's like, it's not that new. We used to actually do this in the aughts, the early aughts.
Yes, that's so funny. No, you're right. Everything is new, then old again, then new again. That's for sure. I mean, scrunchies being back is like hilarious to me. Yeah.
Party lines.
Yes, love that. Yeah, the party lines. So, that is funny. I agree. It is. It's interesting to see what you take inspiration from now. You know.
Yeah.
And such different energy. I mean, even self-publishing is a tremendous, massive change within the world of publishing.
All right, just to give you kind of an idea, in 2006, I went to RWA. And self-publishing was as close to vanity press as could be. And if you did it, you were a piece of shit.
Yeah.
No lie.
Crazy.
It led to the rise of e-publishers because, you know, people didn't want to give up creative control and whatever, you know. And I was a bestseller on Fiction-Wise with Oriana of all books for weeks.
Yeah.
Made thousands of dollars just off of Fiction-Wise from Oriana. But when I tell people that, I don't even put best-selling author or anything. They're like, on what? I was like, oh God, for Fiction-Wise for weeks. I made so much money. And they're like, what? I'm like, Fiction-Wise? You don't know what Fiction-Wise? Wasn't that long ago when Barnes & Noble bought them out. Nobody.
Hello, anyone?
Okay.
Yeah. That's so, it was it's been a tumultuous time. I love the way that self-publishing has enabled us to have this kind of freedom and to make choices about covers and even be readers and be able to sort of with marketing or, you know, I just love it so much. So
and I told my husband, I said, I feel like we've given up publishers, but we all had to take on PAs because I have a PA now.
Yes. Very true. Because there's so
I feel like we've given up publishers, but in some ways, as we become the publisher, you know, we're hiring the editors, we're getting cover artists, we're getting PAs to run our schedule, like, you know, and publish. It's very interesting to have this hands-on, almost like a single entity publisher versus in you know, then self-publishing. It almost feels like you're your own publisher now.
No, it's exactly right. You are. I'm just saying hi to Laurel, who just came on, who is the TikTok girl. She's going crazy over there on TikTok. It's very impressive. I just got on TikTok myself, so I'm just learning that. But
I am too, and I just hired Eclipse Services, which is, who is that? That's I hate this MS sometimes.
you're
Chelsea.
Oh, sorry. I'm just seeing that she's at urgent care. Work.
Oh no.
Hopefully it's
Oh.
hopefully it's work and not but I'm so glad you're here.
I'm trying to. So I just hired Eclipse Services, which is, hold on, let me tell you who they are, because they're authors, or if they're not authors, they're avid readers. But I think they're also Chelsea Fountain.
Just
Yeah. So, and that's because I can't do TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. And Twitter. I gave up Twitter. I just couldn't see the return on sales for Twitter, so I gave that up.
I was gonna say Holly's on there doing it all. She's on all.
I know, right?
Killing it on TikTok. So is Laurel. I'm sure some of the rest of you are too. It's very fun. Yeah.
And I just saw that Book Queen put PA next. I don't know if she's still on here, but when she came up, she had PA next to her name. So I think Book Queen just became a PA. I'm like,
that's nice. I just see that Laurel, poor thing, broke her ankle. Might have broken her ankle. I hope you're.
Oh, no.
That's terrible. I'm so sorry. I hope you're okay. We'll have to hear what happened.
Me too.
Yeah, and this is when you have to ask around, because this is when all the new residents are in the hospital, so you have to really be extra careful with your care. just.
Oh my goodness.
I know. Anyway, sorry. So just a little tip on the.
I know, that's right, because you're married to a physician who'll tell. It's like
I hope you're okay, Laurel. I hope you're okay. Anyway,
at least they're cute. They're young usually, and
that's right.
no lie. Because when I had my last MS episode, guys, I was at WashU, Barnes Jewish in St. Louis, which is a spectacular hospital into research.
Is that the area you're in?
I'm now in Tampa, and I'm at USF in their MS program, whatever. But WashU's is a teaching, obviously, it's a medical school, and so the team, my neurology team, they were all hot. There was not a fucking ugly neurologist in the group at all. Like, no lie. Like, and because it was also like students and everything, there was they roam in a group of like 20. Now it's more like 5 to 10, but you know what I'm saying. And they come in, and I'm like, is this like a fucking shoot? Is this a modeling shoot? What is happening here? Did they only hire you if you're good looking, or there's not enough effing neurologists in this? And I know they're out there.
I need to know where to go.
I know, and I was just like, and everybody who would come to visit me, and mostly people from my church, even the women were like, "Oh my God!" I was like, "I know, right?" It's like, and I'm like asking, I'm like, "Are you guys, none of them are?" I'm like, "Are any of you married?" And I'm like, "Oh no, we don't have time for that," because we're like, they're, they're, I guess at that age, you're right, they're at the hospital more than they're not, But
have you done book signings where some of the cover models and stuff like that have been there?
I've been at conferences where they've been at, like,
that's
and stuff
too. Yeah,
but it always amazes me, because I'm not one of those people who fawn over good looking, classically good. I just don't have time for it. I'm tired. I'm old and tired at this point. I leave that for the younger women, whatever, or the very old single, like, getting whatever. I'm like, but I'm always just so surprised sometimes. Where your inspiration comes. But I'm sure some of those in the neurology, what I was saying is the residents that were coming with them, I was like, you're so young, but you're so cute. And oh my God. And when their guy makes them have to do like patient care stuff. Like, I had one, I knew it was MS. I knew it when I read, I got the MRI and I read through the things, and I saw, and I knew it because I had an MS hug, and there's not many diseases that have that. So when I finally I got sent to the hospital, he was probably 28 or less. He kneels down in front of me, and he's like, "I got some bad news." And I'm looking at him, and he's like, "It's MS." And I'm like, "Okay." And he's like, "Are you all right?" And I'm like, "Oh, sweetie, I just want to pat you on the head. You're so cute. And I know you're a doctor. You're highly intelligent to be here, but you're still, you got to read the room here. I figured it out, and you're not."
That is so funny. Yeah, they don't always teach that kind of connection.
Yeah.
They, just.
But it just makes me laugh. So sometimes the residents are cute. You're like, I'm just
Right.
So I hope your ankle's not broken.
Yeah,
And
Laurel,
if it is,
we'll hope, Laurel, that you got some cute ones there with.
yeah, if you have to have a residence, a cute one. And
Yeah.
and I will say this about residents and just that young group, they're still so new and hopeful. They're still not jaded like older doctors can be sometimes. I don't want to say your husband, but you know what I mean. Like I've had doctors that were, you know, like I was that person. I had a primary doctor for like 12 years, the same doctor, and you know what I mean.
Oh, even better. You'll get good care. There you go.
They are all women. Okay, there you go, Laura. Yeah, exactly. You know,
That's inspiring
the women.
too. I like, you know, I mean, I don't know how you said you take a lot of your book ideas from real life. Is that true?
Yes.
So do you plan also for yourself to continue to write in contemporary mostly? You
I do sometimes. I was actually just talking about a doctor, but because this actually happened to me when I was younger. This is another doctor story. I went. I was telling my husband about this, and he was laughing at me because you know I've been married 17 years, so it's you know. But this is. I once saw a doctor who was too good looking, and he was checking me out, and that like you know as a doctor does, and I was like, is it hot in here? And he's like, no. And I was like, and I like blushed, and I always thought I would write that into a book, that experience.
Yeah, that's a good one. With a
because
different,
he was so good looking, but
yeah.
like we still talk about this because I was just so like I you know I had to stop going to him after like 2 visits because I told my husband I was like it's just I just can't, it's too much for my poor little, and I'm not one of those people who react a lot like that, but for some reason he just hit all the right buttons. I guess I told my husband and he just laughed at me.
Funny. Well, you should write that. That does seem like it would be an intriguing book. I want to.
Because you're like, oh my god. Well, because you know you think it's, and I can almost see myself saying that. I was kind of like, it's hot here. He's like,
and he knew. No, I've had this reaction before. Yeah, you have to bring him down a couple pegs in your story.
I'm just like,
deserves a character arc that, you know.
I know. Well, you know, I've known a couple, and I've known friends married to them. You know, and it's a whole different. So I'm already.
I have this. The character I'm writing now is Alexi is like a very beautiful. Wait, my head. Oh, look at that. So
it's true. Like I was like, so there's just too good looking, you know. Like
that's funny, Laura. Well, I was just saying that. So with this character, he's one of those too beautiful, and that's a particular, you know, they I wouldn't know, but I'm going to imagine what that's like, and I'm going to work with that. So I think that's fun. It's one of the fun things is to get to play. That's one of my favorite parts about writing is getting to sort of really play with the different types of characters. That's my
and just the fantasy. Then, like I said, incorporating things and taking it to the next step because you know, like I said, I mean, I think the doctor was single, but I was not.
Yeah. I'm curious too, like what readers love best about why they feel like I don't know if you've ever asked like what they love about the romance. Yeah, I hope so.
Well, you know, I think as you know, in my own work, I write a very specific kind of trope, if you will. Someone told me it's actually considered a rescue trope because, like in my stories, my heroes are always very stable, almost paladin. Any D&D players in here know what I'm talking about when I say paladin. No, okay. Very heroic, like they don't do anything wrong. They're the stable. So the more perfect they are, the more chaotic the heroine becomes. So often in my stories, the hero is balancing the heroine, you know, so so you have that balance in the story, and then and the heroine's just out of her mind, and the hero has to kind of bring her in line.
Yes.
Hi, Mona.
Sorry, I'm distracted by everyone's awesome comments, but I'm listening to you too. But
no, that's fine.
Thank you for the dog comment, and Laurel, thank you. I'm excited about Alexi. And hi. Sorry, but yeah. So that's interesting. That's very
well, and so I think like you know, I'm not writing one particular kind of hero as in like a profession or you know they're not. I've written mechanics, I've written military, I've written, werebears. I mean, but I feel like they're the same formula of hero in the way that they are not the tortured, broken hero that you get in the dark romance world. They're not the anti-hero that you get, like in urban or street. They're just
They're the
they're
the gentleman, as someone just said. Very
yes, exactly.
yes.
And the heroine is the one that needs to be taken a hand. So, and someone once asked me, why do you write this? And I think not only because in my life, my husband is my anchor and I'm very chaotic, but I feel like as women, we as a gender, take on so much. And I think, in my stories, the heroines do represent this kind of everyday woman who just wishes somebody would stop them from hurting themselves. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
because
yeah,
because as women, it's like we are so sacrificing. I think you've done gender studies. It's almost expected of the women to be the sacrificial one in the family. It's the woman who, often, and things are changing, but often gives up her career to take care of the family. The woman who goes without so that kids and husband can have better whatever clothes. You know what I mean? It's the woman who works 40 hours a week and then cleans the house while husband maybe does whatever, and kids, and does all this stuff, and they get 4 hours of sleep, and they're living off coffee and whatever, and think to themselves, I just wish somebody would stop me from doing this to myself. And so that's what I try to write in my stories. So that's so if that's what you're looking for in a romance, read my books.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Ooh, that's lovely. I think that's wonderful. Yeah.
But so no, I've never really asked. I kind of always written this one kind of, but I, in some ways, I almost feel like your heroes are the same in some ways, yours. And maybe that's why I love your books so much, because they are very much gentlemen, at least the ones I've read. I've only read 3 or, and the heroine is in some ways needing this completion, this balance to their life. And I love that trope, if you will, versus the heroine rescuing the tortured hero or rescuing.
Yeah. I try to have it be a balance, that they really both learn from each other, and they both start off sort of in one place, and by the end they both shifted. But I do have, you're right. I mean, I think I tend to write very strong heroes who are, anchors in some ways the same. And
well, because they're not, they're dominant and they're secure in their power, but they're not overbearing or brutish about it, because they don't need to prove anything.
Yeah.
They already know they're these things. And that's what I try to write. See, I think a lot of times when you read, especially in the dark romance, the anti-heroes, and that they're proving something.
Yeah. And I mean, Holly just said that Griff caught her off guard. I'm so curious. I don't know if she's to hear more about why, but for me, he that's from Tormented. He's in the Prison Planet series. And he is sort of he's very broken, but he's also very loving. I mean, he's just very, and he's, and then like my heroes, and same for me with my husband, I think, they'll do anything for you, they are for people they love. Yeah, I think Holly's saying, so he was very broken and had it.
I'm gonna have to check that one out, because I didn't read that. Like I said, I've only gotten to read your Omega verse, Alpha verse ones.
Yeah.
I like that. And I was kind of,
he's a little broken, but she is really tough. She's had a really tough life, but she's a little bit more emotionless at first, which was so much fun to write. And Griff has a little bit of a sense of humor too, which I love. Thank you, Laurel. Thank you so much, sweetie. I've had so much fun writing the book.
I almost hate to say, I don't want to ask this, because as the author, you're sitting right there, because I almost want to ask the readers. I'd be like, so which one did you like better? The Omega verse or the first one? Like, should I,
Yeah. It's funny. It's so interesting, because I've gotten a lot of new readers through the Omegaverse. I think it's just a different genre. And so it's been really fun for me in that way because I've met and gotten a lot of readers who are really interested in Omegaverse and very committed. And funnily enough, I feel like that's like I've met a lot of them through Instagram and TikTok. And Laurel has been amazing, like her, well, not just for me, but she's an amazing support for a lot of authors, and her TikToks are awesome. But it's yeah. Oh, Magnus. Well, see, Riker is from the Prison Planets, and Magnus is from the Ruthless Warlords, the Omegaverse ones. So Holly's stuck. But yeah, I think it's, and there's been a substantial crossover for me, but I do feel like there's some differences too. So I don't know. I don't.
Well, okay. Well, let's see how brave your readers
Yeah.
are to come out and just say it.
Yeah. Well,
Do you have a preference if you could only have one?
yeah. Well, it's
You'd only have one universe.
only Holly and Laurel that are on here right now, so we'll have to wait for the others. But I have asked before, like, which of, even within a series, which did you like best? Because I'm just curious. And it's crazy because it's a total range. Like it's, some people are like, I love Trap, the first in the series. Some people are like, I love Tame, Tormented, that's Holly's, Taken. Some people, so there's no, it's a really interesting, and it's so strange. Like I would have thought like, oh, maybe there'll be a favorite. And when with these Ruthless King and Savage Prince, I've had some people like, I love the first book so much, and other people I'm like, oh, Savage Prince is my absolute favorite. So I get you.
All right, so Prison Planet it is. So Holly is saying Prison Planet then. It was interesting because, like you said, having read my first Omegaverse, like I felt it was so sweet in some ways for an Omega, for a power exchange. Like, especially when they would make nests. I was like, that's so cute. I love this. Well, and the heroes were just so proud. Like, oh, look, she made us this. And I was really moved by these simple little things. So I don't know if a Prison Planet would be my favorite, having enjoyed, but I don't know.
I think I tend, like I said before, you can get a lot darker, and within the Omegaverse world, it does get a lot darker. I love to read those books too. Yeah, we do need Persephone. She's another amazing reader who's and a terrific artist too. Who's
Laura writes Prison Planet more. So, okay, then I'm gonna go check it out because I was curious. I don't mind dark or not dark. I usually avoid, personally, when the heroines are overly powerful, because that's not my taste. But let's check it out then. If they're saying that's the one to go with.
And the heroines are not overly powerful. They're dropped on this prison planet with brutal, like it's a crazy, harsh, desolate world, and you've got these condemned soldiers who are stuck, falsely accused and stuck on this, she's so sweet, are stuck on this world. And so and then the trap takes place with a crash landing. Yes, the bad guys, and they're really psycho and sickos like 225, and they're the numbers because they're prison. They don't have names initially, so there's some dehumanization, and that was sort of the fun for me with the first book, is seeing this kind of brutish character who's really lost his humanity, and who has to save this world. She has to make a deal, bargain for her life. But yeah, the heroines, I try to make them, they come into their power too. I like when they come into their power too and get some strength. So yeah. So
well, I'll have to check it out. I was just kind of curious because I was like, oh, I wonder what they like better. What are you working on now?
So now I'm working on the next in the Ruthless King, or the Ruthless Warlord, sorry, series. That's Alexi's story that is called Broken Air. Yeah, Kane is that's Trapped. I got to go, and then I got to circle back and get back to the prison planets. And as I mentioned, I have the next story, and that's called Tempted. And I have a beautiful cover all ready to go. I just have to write the book. I have the idea in my head. So I have to do that, but I also have two more novellas in the Ruthless Warlords world that are on deck as well. So,
And how many books will you put out, you think, before the year ends?
I really don't know. I try anytime I have a list of the ideas and the things I have to do. I have to write some more in this stolen world too. But anytime I set myself a goal too far in the distance, it's just it just kills all my creativity, and all I can do is like, oh, bless you. Oh my God,
Thank you.
cutest sneezes ever. I'm so jealous. I have the loudest, most like atrocious sneeze. So that was the
Really?
cutest, adorable, lovely sneeze. Jealous. I'm jealous of your cute sneeze. Anyway, so that is sorry. They're so polite. So anyway, so I try not to think too much. I do have to set, I'm sure you do too, like editors and proofreaders, and I try not to have them want to kill me too much. Yes, see, Holly is saying, I do need to go back to the Stolen World. I have two more books in that I absolutely know I have the ideas for, I need to write. So I guess I'll just keep going along and see where it goes. But right now, the interest in the Ruthless Warlord series is so high, and I mean, not that money is everything, but it helps for me to figure out like where I should put my energies a little bit. Because of course, when I do have the book sales, then I can afford to, keep going with the writing career. So it's just.
And not only that, you guys like that author swag, right?
Yeah.
Gotta buy books and give us authors money so we
Yeah.
can give you swag.
They are not. They don't care, but I am insane for the swag. I got this. See, this is like so cute.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Little cuffs.
Yeah, because there's a scene in yeah, I know, and I got to write Damien's book too. There's a scene in Ruthless King. You remember where she gets he handcuffs her to the bed, and then there's some discipline. So I thought that was a nice little add to that. Yeah,
I just want
that's
the
true.
books.
I do feel like, I mean, exactly. That's the thing. Readers want the books. I just like the bling. But
It's so funny. So, do you have any advice for any new authors who might be ready to embark on their career?
Let's see. That's like another hour probably of conversation.
Should you come back? Do you want me to schedule another one to come back and we can do a aspiring author discussion if you want? You are a professor. You could totally teach it. I'd go to your
lecture way. But I guess I would just say briefly that I think that one is to pick something that you love, but write smart. I did not do this with my first book, but I do think it's good to think in terms of series, because, and you don't have to write like the same character or even the same, like these Ruthless Warlord books have a band of brothers and one sister. It doesn't have to be like that, but I do think it's very smart when you're thinking about books these days to think about ways that you might connect a couple of books, because it's a lot harder to sell standalones that don't have links to other books. It can be done and people like it. I like to write standalones, so my books at this point, I don't have books that end with cliffhangers. Those are wonderful too. I like to read them, but just for me for writing them. But I do have crossover in my characters, and I have found that is very useful, both for me, inspiration and sort of centering me, and also in terms of pulling in readers. So I think that would be a big thing that I would say to any aspiring author, is to think not just about your first book, but how you might want to create a log or a tale with those first books.
And if there was something you could tell readers, because I'm going to post this on YouTube. Not that we have a following on YouTube, but so you can post it in your group and it will go out and about and people can share the link. What do you want your readers to know?
What do I want? Well, how about how much I absolutely love them? I I mean, from the amazing pose to the amazing drawings, I just got this incredible set of drawings. And Persephone did me an amazing set before, and I just got another amazing set. And the edits that come, that people do, to the amazing post and the notes that I get, I just feel, in the conversations, I just really, I feel so lucky. Like that's the really fun part for me, is getting to connect with readers. And I hope everybody knows like how inspiring and how important that is, for me, and how much fun it is for me. I just love it. That's the most important thing, I think, for readers to know, and just to say thank you for for being passionate and enthusiastic and supportive and helping me, to want to keep writing. It's great.
And where can those who come across this later, because I post and people do watch when they get home from work and stuff, where can they find you?
Let's see. Where am I not? I have a website, which is www.alisonaimes, and Alison is, and then Aimes, AIMES, and Alison is one ALISON. So AlisonAimes.com. I'm on Facebook at Alison Aimes Red Hot Romance is a fun place. I'm on Instagram, TikTok now. So I'm all over. But yeah, so I hang out everywhere, and people message me, they email me too, and I really like to respond to readers. So I do that personally, and I'm pretty good about getting back to people quickly. So that's because that's really fun for me. So I actually enjoy it. So I'll put off doing other things like marketing rather than get to talk to people.
I feel like interacting with readers is a type of marketing, because you'd be surprised how much I'm sorry, like something had just popped up.
Yeah, I love it.
Freaking MS stole my ability to multitask. Give me a second. I feel like talking to readers is a type of marketing, because word of mouth is so powerful. Like I might have not picked up your book had you not come recommended by people I trust.
Right. That's
Be it EJ Frost or
yeah.
Holly or
yeah.
So.
No, that is a good point. That's an excellent point. I always just, you never know, but I just love it so much anyway. It's just so fun to get to know people. I really do feel like, I mean, I know, like I'm gonna have to worry about Laurel and her ankle and see what's happening there. And but and someone
I know, and
someone
it's all women, she'll be okay.
Yeah. And one of my readers right now is her daughter is COVID, so and Holly, I feel very attached to Holly. So I think you just get and Jean, I don't know if Jean's here, but you just get these connections, and you get really attached to people, which I am really grateful for.
Well, I appreciate so much that you came on to talk to me tonight. I had a blast. I did. I had so much fun.
You have such a great energy, and I've watched so many of your interviews. I want to say all, you've done so many, but I watched a ton, and I think that you're great at this, and it was so interesting because it's such a diverse group of people that you've talked to with so many different experiences with their writing, and I just love the writing. So amazing.
I've been very blessed to have a group that is diverse, a reader group. Like I don't feel like it was anything I did. I feel like they just came, and but I'm grateful because we have new experiences and new books and things that maybe some of us would have never read had we not met other people and stuff. So I've become a much more mature reader because of the readers in my group who have introduced me to new authors and new genres. And dark romance is fairly new to me, for example. Same with streetlit.
Yeah, and I remember I just was listening to Holly's interview, and she was saying how she was really moved and felt like so connected to certain. I think it was the streetlit she was talking about, some of it with her life, and it's just so powerful, and there's so many different ways in which the books and different genres people connect with, and so it's wonderful to have sort of for you to pull that all together and for us all to learn from it.
Well, I feel like we get to a certain place where some things I think do overlap. And I think I said this in different interviews with, like the anti-heroes are present in romance, dark romance, as well as street literature, because that is the anti-hero, the drug dealer, the bank robber, the mafia, the gang members, these are all similar heroes. And I feel like some readers don't enjoy, they don't pick up street lit because they think it's only for a certain type of crowd or a certain ethnicity or a certain like, oh well, that's not for readers like me. No, you can be a suburban housewife with 10 kids and never stepped foot in an urban or bad neighborhood and still enjoy street lit, especially if you read dark romance. Because if you can enjoy the main characters in a dark romance, then you can also enjoy the main characters inside like a street lit story. These have very similar themes, and it also allows you to read about characters that are people of color, written by people of color often, which we just don't read enough of in general, I feel like, because we just don't have access to those kind of books always. But you can. They're out there. You just gotta find them.
Gosh, they're amazing. And I think even within the world of romance that is changing and happening more, which is
and it is. And matter of fact, tomorrow I have an author coming on, a woman of color, actually, African American woman, and she writes interracial and urban romance and stuff. And Sonia, I'm excited to interview Sonia. And then I have another one down, another author who writes, I think, interracial. I feel like I'm getting a lot of interracial authors, actually, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even know there was that many interracial authors out there, and I have read interracial, for years. It just, for every 100 normal, like non, interracial authors who just wrote, one ethnicity or one, I would find one interracial, or multicultural. And now I feel like they are, and I feel so blessed, like they're coming into my group. I'm like meeting them. I'm like, you write interracial?
Yeah. Well, now I guess it's everything becomes the norm, and now it's a fabulous norm as well, just as it should have been all along. And so it's great for all of us to sort of
and I enjoy I come from a diverse family. My mom's Puerto Rican. My dad, God rest his soul, was actually an immigrant from Norway. I had older parents in that, and it was nice to, when I can find books that have these kind of representations that my parents, that were like my parents and the hardships that they had getting married. Because I have older parents, so they married at a time when it was not allowed per se. It was frowned upon to marry outside your ethnicity. Matter of fact, there was a big fight the night of the wedding. Because my great uncle called my mother a dirty spick and my grandfather knocked him out. Because they were in New York. This just wasn't done. It just, it was still, they got married in the 50s. You still just didn't, that wasn't, a norm. I think a lot of times people think, the more like, African American and white, or, what I mean? But it was, racism went on also into ethnicities, not mixing as well.
Of course.
Even in places that were diverse, like New York.
Yeah.
And the hardships that came with things like that. You don't think much of it because we don't hear about it as much, but it was there. And so, but you don't read, like, it sounds so West Side Story. But there's a reason why West Side Story was a story.
Sure, absolutely. It's
those kind of things were still prevalent.
Yeah. They still are, sadly. But yes, I totally agree. And I just to say that is one of the aspects of sci-fi romance and Omegaverse that I like, is that you get to play with questions around gender and class and sexuality and race.
Yes, because your heroes have horns somehow. Like, at least I was like, wow, this
people
is
have
like red.
Different skin colors, different cultures, different languages. different, class. I mean, so there's the gender power dynamics. I like all of that because you get to examine you, and you can pull in things that are taking place in our world, but you can also play with them. And I find that to be really fun and liberating in a way that you can't do in other romance genres, although that you have other things you can do. So each has their benefit, but that is another part of sci-fi romance and Omegaverse that I love, is getting to play with that stuff. That's really fun.
So will you return to contemporary, like the Billionaire Bad Boys? Like, is that over? Are you done with those, or?
I do think I will go back to contemporary as well. I just think it's fun, but I love, like I just said, I love so much playing with these concepts that I am in this world, and that I will stay with that for a while.
You made me enjoy sci-fi again. I honestly, because sci-fi for me is something that I've gone in and out of over the years, like I'm an Aquarius. I don't know if that matters for those of you,
I am too.
Yeah, okay. So, I'm very pro technology, pro, all these kind of things, and happy to have aliens come down, and like, well, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's cool.
You're pro probes.
Yes, yeah, I'm just like, whatever. Yeah, I'm like, totally, if you're a hot alien, totally probe me up. I'm cool with that. But I grew up watching like Star Trek and stuff like that, and you go through life, and then I'm like, I'm not really feeling all the sci-fi I felt like it was getting, especially now as I have come to not be able to understand books like I used to, due to my disability and the brain damage that I got from my last very bad episode. So I've been avoiding high fantasy and sci-fi in a way because of those things, because as it is, I can barely pronounce names and stuff, much less ones that are made up and,
right.
with fantasy places that I have to, but yours were easier for me to read. I could actually read yours, which was nice, because I've tried to read others and I'm like, my brain is exhausted. I can't keep up. I can't read mystery and thriller for the same reason, because I know that I'm going to get a clue here in chapter 2 that I need to remember for chapter 10, and it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So you made me like sci-fi again, because I usually avoid it a lot of times for that reason. But I knew also when I read like the first couple of pages, it was going to be okay. Like, how you can, but sometimes I read authors and I'm like, I know I would have enjoyed this 10 years ago, but I can't enjoy it now. I don't have the capacity to enjoy it now. And so it was so nice to be able to go to a sci-fi and enjoy it, and be able to understand it and what was happening, and not be like, wait, where are we at? What?
Yes.
What's happening?
I do like world building, and I definitely have gotten, I think, better at it as I've gone along, but it is not, it's not super intricate at the same time. There's a lot, I'm more interested in the character and the sexy time and some.
And I get some of these authors, gotta love them. They give you like dictionary at the front of the book,
which is fabulous, but you just have
it is.
to be, but there's so much, even within sci-fi romance, there's so much range. So
I'm like,
mine are not.
Wait, and like I said, it's not. I feel like it's almost like a bad breakup. I'm like, it's not you, it's me.
Well, true. That's another nice thing, is that there's so many options within romance. You can just get whatever you want. Like, there's so many choices, which is so nice. So
yeah. So if any sci-fi authors are watching this and you're like, this will never read my book, it's not you, it's me. Yeah. Sorry.
Did you just Laurel's update? She didn't break it, but it seems like it's a bad. But what did she say? It disappeared on mine, but
it's not saying on mine yet. It hasn't come up yet. I'm a little delayed.
Oh, that's funny. Poor thing. I think it. I'm sorry, Laurel. Doesn't. It sounds like it's not it's good, but it's some. Doesn't.
Maybe a sprain.
Crutches. Maybe we'll see the crutches in the next TikTok video.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
But at least that's a good thing. It's not broken, because that's a long recovery there.
Yeah.
And a hard
update.
one.
Anyway, so nice for me. I love getting to talk with you. I just wanted to say that. Such a joy. Thank you.
So, all right, guys, we'll be in the comments. If we missed any questions, place them in there or we'll come back and answer. Thank you again so much, Alison, for coming on. I enjoyed your book. I look forward to the Prison Planet.
Oh, thank you. You're so sweet.
I'm gonna give it a try, guys. I'm counting on you, Holly, and Laurel to have told me, to have led me the right way.
You can have them whisper in your ear later. They're so nice.
Don't let me down, ladies.
Yes.
I'm gonna find y'all and be like, why'd you send me to this book? No, it's gonna be great. And I look forward, like I said, if you ever want to come on and talk about new authors, what they can do, or even gender studies, because I do like power play.
I love to talk about that.
Yes, you're most welcome. We'll get the alcohol going and we'll talk about it.
That'd be fun.
I'll let you talk and I'll just sit there and nod. And it will be good. And again, thank you so much. I had a blast.
Thank you to everybody. Sending big hugs and bye.
So we'll see you soon. Bye.